Lifestyles, a show designed to help everyday Australians create a lifestyle that inspires them using property development strategies. On the show, you'll hear from everyday people changing their lives doing property development. You'll learn from their successes as well as some of the challenges they faced along the way. We'll also talk to experts in a range of fields who share specialised techniques you can use to accelerate your property journey. I'm your host, Amanda McEwen, and I'm a founder of Rising Star Developer, and I'm really passionate about helping everyday Australians build lifestyles using property development. So welcome everyone. Today I've got Karen, who has transitioned from renovating into developing, and I'm really excited to interview Karen because she's got a wealth of knowledge and experience to share with you all. And it's been a fascinating journey just watching her transition into development. And I remember, Karen, a conversation we had not even a year ago where you said, my goodness, why didn't I come across property development earlier? So it made me laugh when you said that. I'd love for you to elaborate more on that further as to, what made you say that?
Well, it's interesting because I know when you tell your really great story, you touch on that. I think you dabbled maybe like once with renovating and then kind of saw the light and went on to property development. And I'm like, oh, damn, why didn't I do that? Because it took me about 50 renos to connect the dots. So I call it the evolution of the renovator. I think a lot of people start off in property renovating because they're comfortable with it. They've got an investment property. They might think they're handy. So I think it's pretty common. A lot of people renovate to start with and maybe do a few. And there can be some great returns, but can be a bit hit and miss as well sometimes. Yeah. There's not always those layers and buffers that you get with property development and that you teach us so well with risk management.
Yeah.
So I guess it was a bit of a light bulb moment to go, okay, we can do something and the end product's worth $500,000. We make a 10% return on that. Or we do something that's got an end product value of $2 million and we make 15% on that. And it was a bit like, let me think about that for a split second.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say it's the evolution of a renovator because it's almost like another step forward because a lot of people start their property journey just doing the buy and hold investing.
Yes, absolutely.
You buy your own house and then you want to become you get into this whole wealth creation bubble and you want to invest in property and that's your first thing and you realise that's not going to get you to where you get to and then you try renovating and you realise it's fun but it's a lot of hard work.
Absolutely.
And I felt the same way that you did as well. Yeah, exactly. It's like the journey. And I remember feeling the same way that you did when I got my head around this whole property development. It's like, it almost is like a no-brainer, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And too, hubby Scott and I have talked about it. We've got older boys who are off doing their own thing, but our youngest, Lockie's halfway through high school. And we're sort of, as you said, renovating is really labour intensive. It's like, oh, crap, the tiler's on site tomorrow. Are the tiles there? And you get a phone call from the plumber. Oh, sorry, Kaz, we hit a pipe. And we were increasingly going, okay, well, when Lockie's off doing his own thing, we don't want to have that labour intensive of having to be on site and troubleshooting and doing all that, as much as the tradies are nice. I don't want to be on site with tradies every day. So We've also seen it as a transition way to, I guess, be able to have that more laptop lifestyle down the track. But I love that you can do this from your own home or an office or, a beach house 2 hours away or by the pool in Bali or, drinking coffee in Italy without sun over the top when we can do those things again. So it was also that. It's the financial returns, but it's also as a return on investment for your time. And I think a lot of people don't factor that into renovating. They can work 80 hours a week on a reno for 2 months and say, oh, I made 50,000. But my response would be, but if you look at your hourly rate, you work for $25 an hour or whatever. Whereas you look at an hourly rate with a development, I know you very much teach us this, if you're doing it well and even with multiple projects, it's a couple of hours a day. You think you do that to make even say 200, you might be working off even really, if you didn't do it well, you're probably making $1,000, $2,000 as an hourly rate. Yes. So I think as I get older, and Scott and I get older, we value our time more. So when we're going to do something, we really want to get the best return for it. So then when we're not working, we've got more playtime and more money to do the things that we want to do. So as you said, no-brainer all round really.
Yeah, and it's funny you raise that point because I know that when I've spoken in various events and said, oh, look, it only takes me 5 to 10 hours a week to run 5 projects. I almost look around the crowd and see people's eyes roll back and go, yeah, right, whatever, Amanda. Tell me from a student perspective, like, you know, is that the reality?
Absolutely, totally. It would be, if I look at how I spend my time in a week between Scott and I, it would be probably the least, you know, running the projects and you know, probably the labour intensive with renovating as well is finding the deals. Once you get up and running and you nail it and all the things that you teach us, the processes and the checklists and your A team, it's, you know, A team was so important when we were renovating. It's, you know, super equally important when we're developing. If you've got all those things in place, it does just kind of, you're just kind of directing traffic, like air traffic controller, I guess. So I look at our week and I spend a lot more time doing other things than we do on managing our projects. And we're the same as you. We've got, so I'm looking at my whiteboard, 5 developments, a piece of land that we're flipping and a substantial reno. And probably, you know, the reno is probably taking more time and energy than the 5 developments combined, to be honest. So that gives you a really good idea. So, you know, 5 developments, we've done 5, 6, 7 renos at a time, and that was stressful beyond belief. To run 5 developments at a time is like, oh, this is pretty crazy. I'm still having Fridays off to have a massage, or Scott and I go have lunch down the beach, or so it is really much a lifestyle business as much as the returns on it.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you say that, because it's all very well, you know, me saying that, you know, yeah, it's a lifestyle business, only work a few hours, but to hear, you know, students like yourself actually saying, you know what, this is a reality. You're out there in the trenches right now. You're applying the stuff that I've learnt. And I've got to say, you know, you've amazed me in terms of how much you've really embraced the, you know, the education as well. And you haven't had experience renovation, but you've really embraced the knowledge taken from what I've taught you and then made it your own and then really hit the ground running. And like to be not even 12 months into this program and have 5 developments, you know, in progress right now is really, really incredible. And that can take people years to get to that. And the fact that you've actually gone, okay, this is, I remember we spoke earlier when we had our one-on-one, you said, okay, my goal is I wanted to, you know, you had lofty profit goals and you went, okay, this is what I want and this is how I'm going to do it. And then you set that in stone and then you've just gone and gone out there and found the deals and put yourself out there and applied the learnings, and you're going to get the results as a, you know, as an impact of that.
I have 2 favourite words in life. This stuff drives my kids nuts, but it's about being consistent and persistent. And I think that's really been, and plus the education. So we're very coachable people. We've always had business coaches and property coaches and life coaches. And, so we're really big believers in that. So for us, it made sense. And we love the fact that we had someone who was in Adelaide as well. I mean, being Adelaide people, certainly learnt lots of people all over Australia, but there was something nice for us about having that connection.
Yeah.
But, it certainly is, it's about being consistent and persistent, and particularly when we're in something like a hot market that we're all experiencing over Australia. That's the difference between those who are doing deals and those, in my opinion, and those who are not at the moment. So every development deal we've bought this year, we've bought on market at auction.
Yeah.
And if you had told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have assumed our deals may well have been coming from, you know, agent relationships, pre-market, maybe some off-market activity. So I look at that and go, that's just because we keep rocking up. And there's been times where Scott and I have got there and there's, you know, 20 people registered and we're like, oh, and when we've got our number, you know, we've been taught, well, we've got our fees, we've got our buy with a little bit of flexibility depending on how competitive we're feeling on that day. And there's been times that we've thought, oh, we're going to get smashed here, and we've got it. And there's other times we've thought, well, we're looking pretty good here, and we've been smashed. Yeah. So the difference is we just keep going. And my favourite word we have in our household is next. Like if it doesn't work out, we're not attached to it. And you've got to have an exclamation mark after the next because it gives it more impact. So it's next. We didn't get it. We move on. We look at the next place. We do the next lot of numbers. And if we keep doing that, we'll know we'll get there. So that goal that we set with you when we started with you was certainly not, I think, I'm not sure we've been within 8 months or something. So we've actually smashed that goal. And at the moment, we're 15% above it.
Wow. And that was a lofty goal as well.
That was our massive stretch goal for us. It was beyond anything we've ever done before. Yeah. So it just goes to show you with the hard work and the education and following the processes and the procedures and the mindset too. I think, you know, we do have the mindset, and you're great with this as well. It's just about, I can achieve this. Like there's really no limit to what you can do. It's really about how many hours you want to put in and I guess how much you're prepared to take on risk-wise. Yeah. But you use all those processes. I feel less stressed doing 5 developments. Mm-hmm. You know, I think at the moment we've got like $15 million worth of its gross realised value of all our projects. I'm far less stressed about that than I was when we had renos that probably had a total of $3 or $4 million in gross realised value, because I guess we've just got that process, the education and the 18. So sorry, that was probably a very long answer to your
No, absolutely. It's amazing because, you know, you had a 7-figure target. So it was huge. And you know, when we first met, yes, you explained the background, but when you went, okay, this is my number, bang, and I went, wow, that is awesome. Firstly, that you had the confidence to go, you know what, that's my number. Because it takes a lot of guts to be able to go, I've got a significant number here and that's what I want.
Yeah.
And to know that you'd smash that is so incredible. Like really, I hope you've actually taken stock to realise how amazing that achievement is. Because sometimes when you're running 100 miles an hour, you actually forget to go, hang on a second, pat in the back. That is pretty damn awesome.
Funny you say that, because my coach, my business and life coach, said that the other day. So I made a big thing that Scott and I, we've got a nice ball of verve and we had a gracing platter. So I took photos and said, see, I'm celebrating, because you're right, that is very common. I think if you're a focused person, you kind of go, oh, well, I've ticked that box. Now what next? Can I smash it by 25%? So that's been an important part. But I think I'm more reminded by, I guess, the life that we live every day is, to me, the reminder of the success we've achieved, to have those choices that you talk about, to go, oh, I'm going to have a massage today. Oh, I'm not going to do much today. I'm going to hang out with the kids today, or I'm just going to sit in the sun and read a book. Like that's a privilege, but it's also a privilege that we've worked very hard for, and, you know, take on still, even now, workloads and elements of risk sometimes that other people don't want to, which is totally cool. Yeah. But then it's like, well, that's the reward for that. So, it's funny you say that.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and it's funny you say that, because I just came from a massage. I had every 2 weeks. You know, it's part of my non-negotiables is self-care, and you know, to be able to get up this morning and go, you know what, awesome! I've got dropped my kids to school. I've gone and had a massage. I'm having this amazing interview with you right now, and then this afternoon planning some great content to share with people. I mean, how lucky are we to be able to do that?
Yeah, that's right, exactly right. But you know, it is a privilege, but it's come from a lot of hard work. And I know you've worked incredibly hard, and you've spent a lot of time and money on your education, and you've made, you know, mistakes along the way, nothing too catastrophic, but you certainly and that's, you know, part of what we learned from you. This is where it can go wrong, guys. Yeah. So I think if you embrace it, and I think that's the whole thing of having a really open mindset. You know, constantly, you know, I always have this philosophy: how can I be better this year than last year? And that's not better in terms of money, but better in terms of how can I know a bit more about myself, and how can I have improved my practices and my habits and, you know, my business skills right through. How can I be a bit more of a tolerant parent this year? I think so. I think if you've got that, and that's what's great about the community, is within, you know, Rising Star, we're very much, people are there because they want to learn and grow and stretch. And to me, they're the people that you want to hang out with.
Absolutely. And it's not just about property, is it? There's actually people there that help lift you up when you're feeling like you're having a, you know, challenging time and can't find the deals and get frustrated. And to have that, especially as an entrepreneur like you and I are, when you spend a lot of your time working from home and don't necessarily have that traditional work around,
water cooler support.
Support, It's absolutely lovely to be able to tap into that and feel like you're part of a community to help keep pushing you on and to help learn from.
That's right. And that's why the sharing, as you said, I think is really important to see, you know, pick and share the highs and the lows. I think that's really important too. Like, we don't want to live this glorified Facebook lifestyle that, oh, my life's amazing and, you know, fantastic. Like, we've gotten things along the way, you know, in business and property and life. You know, Scott and I joke we've probably got a couple of $1 million worth of lessons right now. You know, but you know, you're not a true entrepreneur unless you've lost it a couple of times. So I think it goes with the territory. But certainly when you're in a community where you can maybe shortcut some of those mistakes, and have that support, because it can be lonely. And you hear a lot of people too, as they change and evolve, you kind of, your friends and even your family group change. Like, I know there's a lot of people that don't talk to family and friends about what they're doing because then there's judgment. Property developing, oh, that's so risky. Oh, that's, you know, that's the big, property developers are, you know, not nice people. Not nice people, you know, they're just out to rape and pillage the suburbs. So I think as you evolve, your sort of friendship group changes and evolves too. So it's nice to have that security, I think, of like-minded community, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think you raise certainly an important point, and it's something that I've found as I've grown this business. Ironically, you know, I've always been a private person, and I'm studying on social media, and some of the comments that you hear from people being, you know, can be quite hurtful. And I've had to, And as a developer, same with yourself, you know, you have to almost rise above that and go, okay, well, why am I doing this? And like myself and yourself, we're creating much needed housing. And I think, you know, the title of developer can sometimes get a bad rap.
Yes.
Because we're out there taking the risk, we're creating, we spend a lot of time, money, effort, and manage that risk as well to create housing for people to live in and create memories. And I think sometimes that gets lost in what we're creating. So.
Absolutely. And I think, I think we're, you know, without blowing smoke up ourselves, we're an important part of the economy. If I think about how much in the last 7 years, over 60 odd deals, how much stamp duty we've pumped into the economy. And then the stamp duty that gets created at the other end for the product we've done. And the trades and the building companies and all those things that have been real estate agents, the styling companies, like we do. So I think we should be proud of what we do. I think there's a little bit of a reluctance sometimes to use the D word because you don't want to have that view. But I think we should be really proud, as you are. It's a great example for be proud for what you do because we're actually making a really important contribution. If we always do everything we do with a win-win mindset, and that's whether we're from buying it right through to, you know, working with our trades and the buyers at the other end, then I think we should be proud of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually worked out a couple of years ago, I worked out that it's almost 100 people we employ directly and indirectly through every project.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes.
Which is incredible, isn't it? And and you understand why, given the times we've been living in right now, why the government has, you know, supported construction and put money into grants, because there are so many people that are touched and affected by that. So, it was quite amazing when I worked that out, and it's something we need to also recognise.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, so there's a lot to be proud of. Sure.
Yeah, no, so true. So let us talk about some of your projects that you've gone into, because it's amazing what you've done. So let us know what you're doing and the journey and your time in and out and what you're hoping to returns you're supposed to get.
Yep. So I said we've got 5 on the go at the moment. So since we came on with you. So in between, we did renos for a long time, kind of got a bit jaded with that and, you know, probably Reno fatigued, I think.
Yeah.
And then I guess we kind of transitioned into land splits for quite a while. We kind of tapped into the opportunity last year when the home builder grant came in. So that was really good. We kind of did a lot of land splits, just even some 1 into 2s, 1 into 4s. Some only had little profits on them. Some had bigger amounts, but it was a good practice again to start building up the A team and transitioning. Did a couple of small developments, but really kind of embraced it when we came on board with you this year. So we've got we're doing 6 single stories in a western suburb. We've got 2 southern suburb projects. There's 6 in each of those. And then we've got 3 townhouses in another southern suburb. And then we've just gone into a more premium suburb for us, and we're doing sort of 1 into 3 houses, townhouses, high-end build for sort of the downsizer market. So very different suburbs, very different price points. And I've probably gone and just thrown the whole area expert that you teach us into disarray. But I guess we came from the point of view that we've been area experts in quite a long area for a while. Because we get to do this all day, every day, we feel comfortable in fishing, I guess, in a lot more, a larger pool, just because we have that time and the energy. Because there's myself, there's Hubby Scott, and then we also have Linya, our assistant, who works with us about 20 hours a week. So we've actually got a lot of concentrated activity in looking. So we're able to throw the area expert formula a little bit wobbly. But very different. And again, but in each instance, we know our market really well. And I've always been really passionate. I'm a bit of a property nerd. Like I love demographics and population growth and things like that. So even when we were renovating, we were really mindful of our markets and our demographics. You know, we know if we're doing a family home, well then, you know, goodness, don't rip the bath out of the bathroom to make a bigger shower. Yeah. So even though we're in very different areas and price points, we're really mindful of, you know, the different products we're producing. And again, we're tapping into our networks with real estate agents in each area and sort of confirming our strategy and our pricing and things like that. So, it's really exciting. And then we're still in the mix of all that, got a significant reno on the go, in an inner city suburb. And then we've just actually got a double block of land. We've actually just moved it on rather than developing it, for a bit of cash flow. We've been able to move that on for a nice profit. So we like the idea of having a few different, I guess, types of projects and time frames, because developing's great and the payday's great, but it's a long time off.
Yeah.
And those 5 products, we'll be drinking the good stuff at Christmas next year.
Yes.
But in the meantime, you know, we've still got school fees and groceries and rent to pay on an office, you know. So we like to have a bit of a mix, I think, for shorter and longer term flow.
Yeah. Absolutely. And cash flow, you're right, you need cash flow strategies. And that's the amazing thing. And it's funny, I'm just putting the finishing touches on my next virtual event that's on in a couple of weeks, and that is purely cash flow focused.
Right.
So just to top up, in between your paydays, which are nice and lumpy, but you're right, you still need to get some cash flow coming in the door. That's right. So you can still put food on the table and
that's right. You've got school fees and, you've got a great view to pay for and maintain and all those things. So, yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. And that's the amazing thing, because you don't necessarily have to go and complete every single deal. And like you've got ourselves with a land division that we're going to, split off and put house and land, and you can be in and out of those projects in 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on when you settle on your land, when you buy them and you settle. And
that's right.
I think that's the amazing thing, but by being exposed, and this is one thing I really love about our group coaching calls, because everyone gets to hear the different types of strategies that you can apply, because there is the umbrella property development strategy when you follow the bouncing walls and complete the whole project, but there's so many parts of that process that you can do. You don't have to complete to end.
No.
You can sell off land, you can get a land division, sell the whole site with plans. There's so many different ways of creating cash flow, and once you actually understand what income you're wanting throughout the year, you can have a short-term plan and a long-term plan, and then just choose projects to get in and out. And as we spoke about, there's always, you always want to have multiple exit strategies for every single deal, and it's something we speak about in most of our modules in the training. And that's something that with my deals, I'll look, okay, I've got this here. If I complete this out, this is going to be my profit here. But if I cash out now, it's going to be my profit here. So what's the time value of money and the opportunity cost? And you weigh all that up, and what cash flow do you need? So there's so many different ways of slicing and dicing deals, and it's great to see that you're doing all that too.
And I think having your radar up to what's going on around you. So there's one that we have on the go at the moment that the intention has always been to go through to the build, but we're actually producing quite large blocks. So we are doing that. Are we better off rather than in a year to make X, that, or in 6 months, or probably less than that, 3 or 4 to actually make not too far off. So that would be good for cash flow, and obviously with what's going on at the moment with construction and price rises and things like that. So we've sort of, in terms of what we're looking for at the moment, our strategy is we think probably the next 3 or 4 will be land splits. So we're looking for bigger land, so we can just go in, as you said, in there 3 or 4 months, still good returns, but without all that back end now of having to worry about construction and, okay, well, we're feasing at this, but we're probably going to now allow another 10 or 20 or even though the end price. So just for clean and expediency. But I think it's good just to always have your radar up. So this block of land that we're flipping on, we originally were going to renovate the 2 properties on there, cut some off, do all these, and we actually looked at it, and the return for just flipping it on, because we bought so well, the return was just as good to be in and out in like 2 months.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. So I think it's just always about having your radar up and being very aware of what's going on around you and what the trends are and what the market's doing as well. Not getting too attached to any one end result or strategy.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so in terms of the 5 projects, what sort of average return are you looking at getting for each of those? Is there an average, or they really depend on what's on?
Some are certainly chunkier than others, like the premium one, the premium inner city one we've just bought. That's got out of it, massive. So we've learnt from you, like, a minimum of 15%. So we do our fees, and we would have thrown away hundreds that don't get to 15%, or we'll still go to the auction, but know that, our buy price is so far below what their reserve would be. So, across the board, so anywhere from 15 through to about 25%.
Yeah.
Which is great. And again, in renovating world, you're kind of aiming for 10% off, a much lower, it's exciting. I mean, it gets a little nerve-wracking at times when you look at all the end value and, the borrowings and things, but you just go, well, we've done the research, we know our stuff, we know the end market, we've got lots of buffers in there, we've got a good team, so you just have to keep backing yourself, and he who keeps rocking up gets the chockies.
Yep, absolutely. And so with each of those projects banking 6-figure returns, you're looking at a 7-figure return in 12 months, which is absolutely amazing. So if you think about the average person, and I would think about myself, if you had to work to earn that sort of income, how many years would that take you to earn that same amount of income you're going to be banking in 12 months?
Totally. Like making like a decade's worth of income.
Yeah.
Plus in like a year.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And you sort of think, why aren't more people doing this?
Yes, and it's funny, isn't it? Because I guess because it's the world you live in, you assume that everyone thinks like that, and you assume that everyone knows this and everyone's across this. But you say to people more often not that you're a developer, I could never do that. You know, my sister says to me, I don't know how you sleep at night. She's very risk averse. So obviously sucked all the risk genes in the gene pool. So she freaks out if she's got more than, $100 on a credit card.
Yeah.
And then you've got me, she goes, I don't know how you do it. And it's like, I don't know, just probably built differently.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be built a certain way, but I think you also have a certain mindset and a certain risk tolerance. And again, you back yourself, like everything that you've taught, there's nothing speculative about that. It's very, because your first mantra is, managing the risk. So, I don't feel like I'm doing anything risky. I feel like I'm a lot more of control in my life than the person who is, PAYG and maybe working for a company that's not doing very well. I look at that and go, well, that's pretty risky.
Yeah.
Your income ceiling's, really tapped. That's risky. So it just depends how you look at risk.
Absolutely. I think the last 12 months, you've heard of a lot of people that have lost their jobs because of the COVID world and companies no longer able to. So then it shows you the PAYG traditional income is not necessarily all that risk averse either, because you're at the mercy of a company going, you know what, I no longer need you now, bye. And then you've got to go out and find a job. So I see that just as risky as what we do. So
that's right. And I guess, for probably people like us, I'm not saying you are, Amanda, but maybe you are, like, I'm a bit of a control freak. And I like it. It's kind of, it's a bit like, it's the Karen show, just because I like to be in control. So for me, that would be just, I can't imagine, I would be stressed by not being in control of my own destiny. And look, I know I can't control everything, but I'm responsible for it. Yeah. And so you can do that within your own business a lot more in your own projects than you can at the whim of, but I guess I get we're all different, but, I guess that's the attraction who have that mindset and that risk tolerance. That is certainly, I'm sure, the attraction for your group. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think also you hit the nail on the head earlier on in the conversation where you're saying, the financial independence you get from being able to do this, like when you're earning 10, 15 years of income in 12 months, I mean, that changes lives.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's totally, our lives totally have a totally different perspective on it. Yeah. And just, it gives you choices. That's what I've always been. Yeah. It's not about the money. It's not about the bank account. It's about the choices and the options. And to me, it's a bit like the oxygen mask too in the plane. Yeah. It's like if you're doing well and things, you can help others a lot more. Yeah. You're not helping society. I hope this is not sounding judgy, but you're not helping society by playing small and being average. You can help society and other people, and I'm passionate about small business and women in small business. So, I'm looking at ways to be like an angel investor and things like that. So to me, that's really powerful. And so that's not just about, having a nice car or a big house. It's about what you can actually do and contribute and make a difference as well. And I think of being a really good role model. Yeah. Your kids, that's really important. That your kids don't listen to you, they watch you. And they see
absolutely. And they so do. And having that choice. And when you do earn a certain amount of money, the money, whether you earn another 6-figure or 7-figure amount, it doesn't really matter. But the choice, and that's something I really underestimated, the impact that choice had on my lifestyle. Like it was almost taking a massive weight off your shoulders of that struggle of day to day and how you're going to make ends meet. So then not have to worry about that. And it does enable you to open your mind and open your heart to think, okay, how else can I be of service to other people? And you get so much more joy from being of service to other people than any money's going to give you. And that's why I love the Rising Star, and why even speaking to you and see what you're doing gives me so much joy to know that I've helped you, make some life
absolutely.
changing.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember you listening to you talk for the first time, Amanda, and you spoke about how the goal was to get rid of the mortgage, get rid of the mortgage. But you didn't actually, until it happened, you didn't actually realise what that meant. Like it was almost this light bulb moment. Oh, that means it's not all that money every week. We have that now. And it was funny how it was such a goal for you, but it was only until you got there that you actually felt the difference that it made in your daily life of not having that money and not having to make sure that gets paid before everything else. So that sits with me. I think of that story a lot. I think you don't really know until you get there and you go, oh wow, this is actually really powerful, but not in my power trip way, powerful in terms of what I can now do and be for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're doing 5 projects at the moment. I'm guessing you don't have pockets of gold sitting in your bank account to be able to fund all those projects.
No, exactly.
How are you doing 5 projects?
So a bit of everything. So we've always been a big fan of money partners. We use money partners a lot, even though smaller price points and things in developing. If you've got 7 renos on the go, you still need a fair bit of coin to do that. So we've always had money partners, and we have a really great network. Some have been with us through dozens of projects, and they love the returns, they love security, they love sort of the vicariously being a property renovator or developer.
Yeah.
So money partners are a big part of it. We have really good, again, big part of the A team is having a finance person that's really across developing, and has a really good contact themselves of different lenders with different risk appetites and different interest in projects and things like that. And, I've done a bit of joint venturing where we can use our own SMSF, not financial advice, but
yes.
we've been out, so, because that's can be a frustration. You can have a nice chunk of super, but can't use it in your own project. So we have another one where we're joint venturing, so we can use some of that there. And a little bit of our own war chest over time as well. Yeah. A good combo. And again, I think that's a good mix. And I never want to I've never been in a situation where I haven't been able to fund a deal out of like 60 plus projects. And so that's a big part of what I do within the business. My role is kind of fund. So I find the deals, FISO them in consultation with Scott. And then when we get it, it's my job to line up the money and things. So, it's great. And a lot of people love it. They get really great returns as, your investors, I think, really good returns. Yeah. They love what's going on, but they're not having to do the hard yards or have that knowledge themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as you know, money partners have been the key reason the way I've been able to scale my business too, and most other people who do developments. That is the key. Using money partners to be able to then really scale your business is how you do it. And I feel the same, but I also get so much joy when I can return that money back to the investors. How excited are they when you go, okay, well, here's 20, 30, 40,000 and
absolutely.
My investors will go, oh, awesome, I'm going to put a new kitchen in once I get that return. And you see how excited they are and the joy that brings them to get returned their money. And so you're paying it forward that way as well, which people probably forget as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I think we worked out before developing, even just with renovating, I think we worked out we paid interest back of something like 1.8 million over the years. In interest, you go, well, think about that across all those investors, what that meant, as you said, for their family and, getting their house paid off or educating their children or whatever's important to them. So it's a privilege. It's a big responsibility, and anyone with integrity doesn't take that responsibility lightly. And it's always, if things weren't to be right, it's always, protecting everyone else first.
Absolutely.
And I think people get that too. They understand that integrity and transparency. And, some people then even go too far with it and can get a bit greedy sometimes. Yeah. Oh, I can get 25% over here. And I've had people that were money partners with us for quite a while, and they go, that's not quite cutting it anymore, Kaz. We've found someone, we've met someone, and they're offering 25%. And sadly, I've had several, and they've come back a year later, and that money's gone. Yeah. And that's big chunks of their home loan, their home equity, or their super or whatever. So I think there's a fine line between. I always talk to people about you need to match up. You want to be like-minded.
Absolutely.
So just because someone's got a line of credit and a pulse doesn't necessarily mean they're a good money partner. Just because someone's got a deal doesn't mean they're a good project partner. Yeah. So I think it's really important to match up and have similar values, and that transparency and communication, I think goes a long way to ironing out if there are any little speed humps along the way too. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's almost like choosing a money partners, and it's like any BA team really, money partners or builders. You just don't take anybody. You've got to make a good fit for both of you. Otherwise you don't. You're in it for a bumpy ride.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. And that's where it gets messy. So I'd rather move on. And I've had people that I've declined as a money partner because I've just felt they're not a good fit, or if they're a control freak and they want to know, can I help choose the tile colour? No, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
I make a joke. People say, what's the best type of money partner? I say, one that lives interstate. One that's not driving past the project, texting saying, I'm just wondering, why are you doing that? So, again, it's, control freak. So love to have you involved, but
control freak.
That's right. Yeah, a bit.
Oh, that's amazing. So in terms of our listeners that will be watching this or listening to this, what's one key bit of advice you would give to somebody who's either starting out or is just teetering between renovator mode into considering development? What's one key that you had touched on it earlier, so I think I know what you're going to say, but what's one key bit of advice you think would actually help somebody get their head into the game, think, okay, yep, I can do this?
I think firstly, do what works for you. Like, I think it's really easy to go, oh wow, look at Amanda and Karen, they're doing 7 figures. But again, if that's not your risk appetite, or you not feel comfortable with that, and there are lots of people that have challenges around mindset with money and things. So I think it's really important. There's that corny saying, you do you. Like, you find what works for you. What is our model or someone else's? Be open. And so I would say, educate yourself. Do the work. Talk to a lot of people, do that work, but you actually really need to look within yourself and go, so what is your why? Yeah. That is a lot. What is your why? So it might be just to have, but it might be to have a side hustle. So it might be that renovating a cosmetic unit reno might be what works best for you. If you want to be hands-on and be really involved with it and have it as something secondary to other things, well, then maybe developing's not the way to go. So I think it's just be really open, look at all sorts of things, consider it, research, but then just really tap into what you want and what you want to achieve and what you're comfortable doing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, being a student for life, no matter how many years you've done, and we've both done, a lot of projects, you always will learn something new on every single project. And
That's right.
When you ever get to the stage where you think you know it all, you're in a bit of trouble there.
Oh, absolutely. and that's why I'm constantly looking, and I'm probably a bit of a seminar junkie, if anything, but I think even if I read one book or listen to a podcast or go to a workshop, or when you can do things like that, if I just get one thing even that makes me think a little bit differently, or is worth researching, or has just changed my whole thought pattern, that's worthwhile, let alone being part of a whole community and having an education program like yours, which can take people from, very little to a lot very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Karen, thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely amazing to hear your journey, and I have no doubt the amount of people that are going to listen to this and go, wow, she is incredible and inspiring, and that's one of the key reasons I wanted you to share your message with everybody. So if there's somebody out there thinking, I can't do this, or I'm not sure if I can do it, we're everyday people. You see us walking in the street, we think we're very different. Yeah. But
we just keep rocking up, Amanda. That's the consistent, persistent, that we just keep rocking up. We keep trying out. We keep trying different things, until it sticks. And that's the difference. So, and thank you. We're super grateful to you, Amanda, and to the community as well, because we have learned a lot. We have been supported. And I have no doubt, we wouldn't be where we are today, if it wasn't for that. So thank you for that too.
Thank you so much for listening. This is Building Lifestyles, a show designed to help everyday Australians create a lifestyle that inspires them using property development strategies. This podcast was produced by the Rising Star Developer. We've been helping Australians realise their financial and lifestyle goals since 2020. And we play a pivotal role in educating, supporting and celebrating the goals and successes of our students. To find out how we can help you realise your property, wealth and lifestyle goals, head to our website www.risingstardeveloper.com.au. To make sure you don't miss an episode of Building Lifestyles, be sure to subscribe to or follow the show in your podcast app. And while you're there, leave us a 5-star review, as it really helps others find the show. I'm Amanda McEwen, and we'll be back next episode with more tips to help you build your lifestyle.